Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the last day here of ITW. We've got a few sessions this morning. We've got some presentations. So the first one that I want to introduce is Connectbase. We've got Ben, CEO of Connectbase. So I welcome Ben to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. I am here today to talk about a topic I'm absolutely passionate about, location truth. Connectbase has built a location fabric with a global location ID system that I'm going to unveil, talk a little bit more about, not only the what, but the why as we go through the conversation. If I can figure out how to turn up. From an agenda standpoint, we're going to talk about some of the key challenges and how they relate back to location truth. We'll describe what it is, how the global location ID system works, and the customer impact when done right. So Connectivity is a strategic business priority in the digital economy today. If you think about the world around us, whether you're at home watching Netflix, whether your kids are in school on Google Classroom, whether you're at work using Salesforce or Connectbase, whether you're in government, in education, connectivity is enabling the digital economy, and it has become a strategic part of conversations in the fabric. That is driving the demand curve up faster than ever, especially post-COVID. It is a critical part of how we think about our lives in general and don't just necessarily associate it back to connectivity or telecom, but it really is fundamental to how we do business, how we live, how we play, how we learn. One of the things that we see is service providers are starting to look at connectivity as a strategic competitive advantage in their delivery of the services and applications above it. Whether it's faster speeds, more security, lower latency, lower cost, whatever your unique positioning, people are trying to understand the attribution around it, use it as positioning versus I have this many certified security engineers, I have this many POPs, I have this many different things. Connectivity itself becomes the differentiating tool for the application stack it's delivering. And what do our customers care about? They don't care necessarily as much about the connectivity, they care about the outcome that the connectivity is delivering. So when we think about connectivity, we're trying to relate it back to the outcomes that it's delivering from applications and services above and how connectivity can position that uniquely to win in the business today. For us, ground truth is location, and we can use those attributes to tell a better story around connectivity. But there's challenges. This industry has faced a geographic challenge and a capital intensity challenge from day one. That still goes on today. The world is not built out. Whether you're in New York City, you're in Africa, you're in Eastern Europe, you're in Asia, you're in Latin America, it doesn't really matter. Geography is a challenge. The world is big and it is expensive to build fiber. The result of that is this fragmented hodgepodge of providers where no one has enough capital to build everywhere. It needs ITW. It needs the collaboration of the ecosystem. And our industry hasn't necessarily always embraced that with vigor and success. There's been an opaqueness in the industry where I want to hold my information around where I serve back. There's been a lack of systematic interconnections of how to go from one system to another system with fluidity and the same language and communication standards. There has been a reliance on data that hasn't always been the best data. All these things hold the industry back from success. We did a bottoms-up analysis of the frictions of the industry around geography, around the manual processes out there. We estimate about $30 billion a year is wasted in the connectivity industry from things like more than one truck roll when you should only have one truck roll. When you're doing manually entry into another system when you just had the data in a cell system or a quoting system and you turn around and enter the order manually. You can go on and on. There's literally hundreds and thousands of different processes that we as an industry have done manual steps for, which increases errors, which increases time, changes the customer experience. And think about the implications of $30 billion in cash flow to this industry. Just equate it back to equity terms. How many people believe that the cloud, the hyperscalers, have won more equity value than the telecom industry over the last 10 years? Anyone not believe that? Okay, everyone believes that. And just a reality, EBITDA multiples, simple math, if I was 10 times multiple of EBITDA, and I had an extra $30 billion of cash flow, 10 times, $300 billion in equity. What if it was 20 times? $600 billion. And you look at the curve of equity valuation from the telco industry versus the cloud industry, and there's a meaningful difference in what we've done as an industry to not address that. That can be associated back to opaqueness, poor processes, lack of automation, bad customer experience that many of us are trying to address and making progress on, but need to continue that progress. My central belief is that location is ground truth and one of the key pieces of information in that overall equation. Think about your inventory, your billing, your CRM system. You know, how many people have had to clean up their Salesforce? You know, it's kind of a common occurrence. It's just reality out there. And if you can anchor things around location truth, you can connect the dots, you can have better reporting, and you can accelerate. We are not going to change the world of fragmentation. Geography has dictated that. The amount of capital intensity has dictated that. But we can change how we think about the data, how we can think about APIs, how we can think about standards and openness and connectivity across the stack. So what is this thing called location truth? And what are the specific attributes? Up here on the screen, people think about address. That's an easy thing to think about when they think about location truth. And that is absolutely part of it, but not the only thing that is part of it. You know, think about serviceability in general as a holistic structure around location truth. The physical address, the access medium serving, the status of the location, the demarcation. How many people have had to have extra truck rolls because the customer's on the 17th floor, not the MPO, and couldn't get something up the risers because we didn't have the inventory to understand that demarcation? Connectbase has a data structure around the thoughtfulness of how this industry needs to communicate around location with precision. We've created a unique ID system that grids out the world. 57 trillion grid points, 3 by 3 meters, not too dissimilar from other grid thought processes, but our key secret sauce is conforming that grid to the structures of the reality, the building footprints, the property parcel bounds, the right-of-way, and embed that directly into the spatial grid. What does that mean? If you just use a standard grid system to communicate and find the location, what 3 words is a good example of that? Really cool thing, you type in words and it goes to a location, but 3 by 3 grids of Gaylord's property here would mean there'd be a lot of different words on the property. You know, there's just a lot of different grid points. Conforming that grid to a uniform structure around what the reality of a location is, and then appending that to demarcations, is how we elevate precision. When we start attributing intelligence, demand intelligence, supply intelligence, so you have context around location, becomes fundamental. Building it from a accuracy perspective so you know with precision where is key. If you're building at $200 a foot in downtown Boston, you don't want to be in the middle of the street. You want to be on the building and know exactly what the distance is. That precision matters. If you rely on a geocoding tool that really is built to put map directions in place versus a 911 precision of where location is, you're going to have misses in your quoting process, in your prospecting process, in your billing process, in your inventory process. So think about the underlying foundation, just like what you do with fiber inventory records, circuit ID records, billing records. Location deserves that because it has implications across so many different systems. The standardization process. How many people have ever received a file from a customer that wasn't perfect in terms of address location? Once or twice, probably. How many people have ever received a file of addresses from their field techs with notes about the building in the address field? Once or twice, probably. So cleaning that, structuring that process, that has to be integrated in each step to normalize so you can connect it holistically throughout. As you go up, making sure that context is not just about you, but it's about the ecosystem around you. There's no better way to understand the marketplace than to look at the four walls of the building uniquely each time. When you understand the building, then you can look out. You can really get the context to make the best decisions. And lastly, have the spatial context always. Don't just have a data store of locations with addresses. Don't just have a data store of points. Have the spatial context of the building footprints. Have the spatial context of the property boundaries. Understand the right-of-way. This is where we're building fiber. This is where we're placing antennas. Have that embedded into the logic so your fiber records are better, your circuit IDs are better, your billing system's better, your CRM system's better. To us, that is what we do every day. We've built 2.4 billion locations in our platform today in 187 countries. We will continue to do it as we do important things like quoting, but quoting is better when you have location truth. Thank you.
Join me in thanking Ben for that education in location truth. Next to the stage, I'd like to welcome the CEO and founder of Listing Central, Nicole Nixon.